Dr. Off-Road Machine. Hit the like button and subscribe to keep up to date with the channel, and leave comments below. Hello to all my fans out there. I thought I'd give a little bit of an update on what Storm is going to be doing today. What we are going to be doing today is installing an EGR blocking plate and doing a swirl mod on a 2006 Nissan Patrol. Now, I've done some study on this and done some research on what people are putting up on YouTube. There's quite a few videos recommending that you just cut a small thin piece of plate steel, like a gutted down pipe, or one of them even said use a Coke can. I wouldn't recommend either one of those modifications. If you start cutting a down pipe, it's really thin metal. It's around about 0.9, so it's really thin, and with the heat of the exhaust and the fluctuations of it pushing that little bit of metal in and out, you're going to end up blowing out that bit of metal and more than likely putting little metal shards through your engine, destroying your complete engine. So hit up eBay, $5, you can buy a good quality EGR blocking plate. That's a good thickness. It's around about 2 mils thick, so there's no risk of it flexing or having heat distortion problems from the exhaust, because that's potentially on what you're blocking up. If you ever look at your mufflers and you got holes in your mufflers and stuff like that, they're built out of 0.9 ACMS. It's aluminium coated steel. It's not the best thing. The stainless steel ones last a hell of a lot longer, so sometimes it's worth going out there, finding a good quality product instead of just trying to do it in your backyard, doing it cheaply, going outside, cutting up your downpipe on your house, making a gasket out of it and trying to block your EGR. If you got a good piece of plate steel, you can cut it out of that, yeah, go for it. But don't go any thinner than 1.6 mil, or you're going to have problems. I wouldn't even really recommend 1.6 mil. I would go 2 mil dead on every time. So keep tuned for this one. It's going to be an exciting one, especially with the swirl mod. I haven't been able to find any real information about the swirl mod, or people putting up there how to actually do the swirl mod. They run you through it very roughly and not very well. They don't explain it, and don't explain exactly what it does. Keep tuned to the video. What I am doing here is I'm sanding around the edges of the EGR blocking plate to give something for the former gasket to stick to, so it doesn't just push out of the sides under the pressure of the exhaust. Now the fun part for me starts removing all the plastic, the intercooler, so I could access the EGR, so I could put in the blocking plate.
Okay, now that's all out of the way, I could start unbolting the EGR and getting the original gasket out of the way for the blocking plate to go in its place. Now before you put the EGR blocking plate in place, put the former gasket on it and make sure it's a good quality former gasket that could at least withstand 700 degrees or more. So I couldn't get enough room just prying it out with my hand, so I ended up using a spanner to pry it out just enough for me to slide the EGR blocking plate in place. So when I was putting the bolts back in, I at least made sure I screwed them in halfway or more by fingers to make sure I wasn't cross-threading the threads, because that's the last thing that you want to do with an aluminium intake is cross-thread it, because there's no going back once you do. So I couldn't quite line up the EGR blocking plate with my fingers, so I ended up using a Phillips head screwdriver through the bolt hole to line it up and manipulate it around where I needed it to be so I could put the bolts in place. Sorry about getting in the way of the camera here, all yous out there, but all that I was doing is I was trying to suss out how I was going to do the Swirl mod, because on the 2006 model, instead of having the 3 solenoids, you've only got the black and brown. You don't have the green, so it's a slightly different configuration on how to do the Swirl mod. Okay, that hose that I'm touching at the moment is the vacuum hose, and that's the hose that you end up using to attach the pipe that runs off to the Swirl butterfly valve, or the vacuum controller that controls the Swirl butterfly. That is the one with the little yellow line on it on the Swirl controller solenoid. Okay, the Swirl mod on my Nissan Patrol was quite easy. As you can see, you just pull the one off on the top of the Swirl controller that has a little yellow line on it. Pull the one off from the T-piece, block off the Swirl controller, connect it straight to the vacuum line, and there you go. Swirl mod done. Easy as that. Then start putting everything back on, plug in all wires, put in all bolts, and test start your car. That is the job done, completed. So at this point I test start the engine and see if the swirl mod was doing what I wanted it to do, and pull that swirl butterfly valve to the wide open position. I tried to get the best camera angle I can here. Sorry about the night vision, but it's the only way I could get a clear image of it. The lights weren't helping at this point, but this is just so everyone can see what that vacuum valve does. Once the engine starts, it sucks all the way back, opening that butterfly to the wide open position, meaning that you have full airflow through your intake manifold.
Hello to all my Storm fans out there. I thought I'd give a little bit of an update on the EGR block and the Swirl mod at the end of this video. I've done some testing over the last couple of days, done some full driving. Keep tuned for that adventure video that's going to be coming up of the full driving, because I got bogged a couple of times. But all in all, it was a good weekend, good testing. Now, I found my conclusions, if anyone's underneath the expectations of dropping their exhaust gas temps down, you're mistakenly wrong. You're going to rise them by at least 70 degrees. Mine used to max out at around about 330 to 400 going up the hill, flat out, gunning it up the same hill, doing the exact same thing. It now maxes out at around about 535 degrees. It's getting quite up there. If it got to around about 600, I would back off immediately. I wouldn't advise anyone going over 600 degrees on their exhaust gas tent. 700's pushing it, it's right up there. That's almost to the point of burning all your rubbers, your seals and everything out from the engine, because they're not made to withstand over 700 degrees. Be careful there with that. But all in all, the conclusions are great. Go out there, do the EGR block, do the Swirl mod. The low end torque that you get from it is amazing. The response free accelerator and small accelerations, amazing around town. Four-wheel driving, it's great with the low end torque and the acceleration response. The turbo is more stable, the boost is more stable. But my advice is, if you're going to do an EGR block, get some sort of boost controller. Don't fall for the Drews valves and the Frelex valves being so expensive. They're quite a simple setup. All that they are is a one-way ball valve that's simply a ball bearing, a spring and an adjustable, so you can adjust the pressure on the spring. So when your boost hits a certain thing, it pushes that ball bearing back, releasing it, overcoming the vacuum, keeping your boost set where you need it. That is a simple needle and seat valve for your vacuum. There hasn't been years of development and study that's gone into it. They've been around for years and years and years. You can buy the setup off eBay in pieces. Leading the needle and seat valve. I've got a barbecue gas bottle one from Bunnings that cost me $5 to control my vacuum. As for the boost valve, that's the ball bearing one with the spring in it. What I've done is I went out and bought one off eBay, blocked a little hole in it, job done. I've had more problems and seen more problems with the Frelex and the Drews valve. I used to have one, a lot of problems. The one that I've got now, I've had in there for over 2.5 years. It's a homemade job. Haven't had a problem with it. Set once and forget. Quite simple, and that's just bought off eBay and from Bunnings. So go out there, get yourself a good boost controller, get yourself an EGR blocking plate, do the Swirl mod to your vehicle, and enjoy the drivability that it corrects. As always, storm out and go have an adventure. Thank you for watching the video. As always, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and please keep tuned to the channel for more videos to come.